Hey there, welcome to the channel. So today we have the cat cam in the house. Clyde is just napping away on the chair. All right, well, good for him. So today I wanted to take a look at um, how much houses have lost in value due to the increase in interest rates. Okay, so there's a couple things here. So to start out, let's look at our interest rates. So here's a chart of the 30-year fixed interest rate in the US. And you can see that this is up about at 5% right now. So we've made it all the way to about 5%. And this varies a little bit depending on the situation. But you can see that just, the end of last year, it was really around 3%. It had been down here for some time at around 3%. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to look at how much house you can buy at 3% versus 5%. That's what we're going to do. So the first thing that we want to look at is we have to kind of understand how much of a payment you can have. So what I did is I searched on the web, and you can find that, they give you this kind of generic guideline for how much of a house you can afford. So here's the rule. I got it from, Google searching, and apparently Chase has it. So the 28% rule states that you should spend 28% or less of your monthly gross income on your mortgage payment. So this includes your principal, interest, taxes, insurance. To determine how much you can afford, you can rule multiply your gross by 28%. So what I did is I took an example of a $500,000 house with 20% down. And what I did is I went into a tool online and I put in the different interest rates to get the monthly payment. So I can show an example over here. And this also just shows the current rates. Some of them national average are a little bit lower than 5%. Others are somewhat lower, but we're just going to call it 5% to kind of get the idea. So searching, here's an example mortgage calculator. So here the home value, put in 500,000. In this case, I didn't want to pay PMI and all that stuff. So I just said put 20% down, which is $100,000, leaving a loan amount of $400,000. And then if you can just put in the interest rate, and then over here, you will get the payment. So here's the one for 3%. The payment is $1,969. If I go back here, so at 3%, you only needed a payment of just under $2,000 a month to buy that house. Now, the issue is when you put in the numbers at 5%, that 2% increase means that same house, to buy that same house, your payment goes up to $2,430. So it went up, call it $430, more like $460. It's almost $500 in that period of time. So in this period of time, you literally in 6 months or so, the amount of house you can afford, your payment for your house has gone up. Now, how does that translate into how much house you can afford? So what we can do is we can just assume that someone is going to buy this $500,000 house at 3%, and they're just going to make that requirement. That means that what you're going to do is you're going to take that monthly payment required and you're going to divide it by 0.28. That'll be the 28% requirement. So that means what this used to be at 3% was that you needed a monthly gross of $7,000 a month to make that payment, to get qualified for that payment. And that translates into $84,417 a year. Okay. But now, look at what happens at 5%. Because of the amount that payment went up, when you do the math, all of a sudden it's like you can't buy that house unless you're making $104,169. So what this really means, the question is, what does this really mean? So what this means is that all the people that could qualify for this house here, that just qualified, all those people no longer qualify. So all the people between 84,000 a year and 104,000, all those people have just been priced out of the market. That entire group of people have been priced out of the market. So that's kind of what that means. Okay, so we're back here. 500,000 hosts, 20% down, interest rate. So we have our interest rate 5%. Okay, boom, hit return. So what this means is at 5%, the monthly payment is $2,430. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to lower the value of the house to get the payment back to the original $1,900. So let's say my house is now worth $400,000. right? So what does that payment come out to be? Now I got too much graphing in this. Wow. I'm going to use that number. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look and say, well, what if you had a person that's still making 84.4, right? They're making this amount of money. Well, how much house can they afford? And if we use that as a proxy to say what this $500,000 house is worth. So what we can do is go back to our mortgage tool and we can say, hey, look, the payment is $2,000. We know the interest rate now is 5%, right? But how much house can we afford? So what I did is I go to the mortgage calculator. I just by chance put in 400,000. So what I did is I'm just going to keep the 20% down. I'm going to lower the house value at the 5% interest rate and just see where I get. So for example, if I go and I make the house value 300,000 and I hit return and it goes and regraphs, it's kind of annoying. Then the payment is 1,500. So I went too low. Well, it turns out if I go to about 400,000, what is my payment going to be? 2001. So look, I'm just going to do it this way. Okay, so I put in 400,000 at the 5%. We're using the same equation in terms of what's down. The loan amount went down, but the rate's still higher. And now my payment is $2,000. So let's go back here and look at that. If we go back to our equation, basically what we're saying is that at 5% to get a $2,000 payment, and I'm calling the 2000 and 1969 the same, our house is now only worth 400,000. So do you see what I mean? Because what I said is this person, and I just rounded, I said this person can only afford 2,000 a month. I'm assuming they can spend the extra 30, 40 bucks, whatever. So they can only spend 200,000 a month. So I started lowering the price at the 5%. And you have to lower the house price all the way to $400,000 for you to get that payment back down, so that this person can buy the house. So what you are really looking at is that in this example, and there's fudgy, you have to do exact numbers, but just a general thing. In this particular example, the interest rate's going up from 3% to 5%. You lost $100,000 in value of your home. In essence, you lost 20% of the value of your home. That's pretty shocking.